budget season. So the intent tonight is just to hear what your requests are, what your needs are, so that the council can start working through the budget process throughout June, with the intent to start bringing stuff to the council in July, and eventually pass a budget in August. So with that, Ben, do you kind of want to give a quick overview, intro, and then we'll get started?
Yeah, so what we'll do today, just as the calendar is concerned, is hear from the departments, and then right now they're submitting their budgets to me this week. We'll go ahead and compile those. June 15th, the county is required to give us the preliminary assessed value, which is really what kicks off the budget for the city or cities in Kansas. So we're kind of waiting on that a little bit to be able to roll out the complete package to the council. Once we get that, it'll take about a week, maybe 2 weeks to get that all compiled and then put back out to you guys as a budget. I know I want to work with Lynn this year to do a little bit more to make it summarized so the public can understand more of what's in there. In the front end of it, maybe some graphs, emailed back and forth to each other. As the mayor said, we'll come back in a budget workshop once we have all the numbers so we can see everything that's been put in there. And at that point, Glenn will have gone through it as well to kind of comb through what changes will be in there. But traditionally, we give you guys the summary of changes so you see what the summary changes are. We try to get these guys back together to talk about what actually those priorities look like and what we can fund, what we can't fund, what needs to go into our 5-year CIP and why those are in there. Tonight's just more about to give you guys an idea of what they're facing. So you can have that conversation tonight. It's less about numbers, a lot more about operations. So this is the first opportunity to have that conversation. I did set this up for police first because he did stop me coming in. Going too fast.
Liar.
No, I did set this up, police, fire, public works. You guys will hear from all the external facing departments tonight.
Chief, we're putting a time limit on you this year.
Probably should.
And a dollar limit.
2 minutes. We don't need to hear anything further.
I'm just gonna submit a brief, and you guys can read it. Are you really having me go first?
Yeah.
Why are you serious? I apologize. Kind of didn't relax.
No, I'm teasing you guys.
You are?
Yeah, I'll start this off by saying last year you guys really took care of this department like no other. So this year I have very few things to submit for review. The first and foremost for me has been and will continue to be the compensation for all employees. That's the highest priority of my department, and as I think you'll see, it's probably the same with all the other departments. However, I do not speak for them. So my department, I know that the compensation study has been done. You guys are reviewing that, and so that's really all I'm going to say about that, because I know you guys are already on a path to make that where it needs to be competitive. So, but as long as you know, that's my top priority. In my line item budget, there were a few things that I believe were auto-inputted without me doing anything to it.
I don't need to see this any further.
Sorry. There were a couple lines that had money in it already that I did not have to put in there. One was the building construction or building repair. That line item is larger than it normally is. The number that I can account for in there is the vestibule that we wanted to have last time that you pre-approved for 2024, but I had to give back to make the compensation happen for my officers early on this year. So my guess is that's why it's in there now, although I don't know the answer to that, but that's my guess. Off that sheet in front of you, there's a co-project basically between Rob Cully and myself. There for special events here in town, we have to borrow those Jersey water-filled barriers. We would like the city to get us our own, so we do not have to go beg and borrow those each time we have a major event. and we're having more of those events, these barriers are very easy to maintain, keep, move, fill, all of those things. But we have, like I said, we have to borrow them from a neighboring town to make that happen. So Rob is going to probably talk about that in more detail, but I fully support that and would co-support that as far as budgetary stuff. I can also tell you that the Maple Leaf Committee a couple years ago authorized the expenditure of about $3,000 for barriers. So we can offset part of that cost, I think, with that group. But I think that comes into a tune of $15,000 total.
30 of them.
For 30 of those barriers. In the line item budget, for me, it has numbers for Emergency Communication Center. For total transparency, that number is not correct in there. This is the year in 25 that we go to 85% of that request. That 85% plus the 5% they say they want each year for inflation brings that total to 93,867 rather than the 68,000 that's currently in there. Just so you're aware of that. This is the first year that my police vehicle has been put in my line item budget. So, but what it doesn't have is the upfitting for that vehicle. So I don't know if that needs to be a CIP or if it needs to be different. I'm sorry?
Needs to be added on.
Needs to be added on. That's going to be additional 30,000 for the upfitting for the lighting and the electronics that go inside of it. So then the portable breathalyzer, they have to be recalibrated when they get out of calibration, and we have some that are being problematic for us. So we're asking for 7 of those to be replaced. That comes to $2,625. We also, for our uniforms, we do not have cold and wet weather pants or shirts. So 1 pair of pants and 1 cold weather shirt, we could outfit the entire department for $2,200 for that. And I put on there that the entry modification is $20,000. That's already in the budget. I didn't put it in there, but I wanted to be transparent. That's what that was for. Universal gym equipment. This is not a huge priority for us, but I wanted to get it on the radar that the workout facility that we have here is all borrowed equipment. It's all free weights. The guys would like to actually make that to where it's a universal system in there with pulleys and things like that, and that comes to about $3,900. The other things for me, line item wise, is that for our janitorial service, it's still the number that used to be to clean downtown by City Hall. That number has actually grown, so the actual cost that we have going year to year is about $7,200, and that line item would not reflect that. Nor is my transportation line item, which is $5,000. And then for the building repairs, I would like to add $1,000 to that for just lawn care products that I can apply myself. Basically, Taco Bell's yard looks better than ours, and that just bothers me. So I'd like to be able to purchase the stuff to apply to our yard to make it look better, and I can apply it myself. And really, that is all we have. There are no big ticket items for my department this year. They are really just line item things that need to reflect what we're actually spending, as opposed, and just the increase at the Emergency Communication Center, the water-filled barriers with Rob as a co-priority, adding the upfitting of the vehicle, which we already spend anyway, to a line. And then the PBTs would be something not normally purchased, cold weather pants and shirts not something normally purchased, or the gym equipment, and that is it for us. And I thank you for your time, and I'll take any questions if you have.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Shorts?
40 wore shorts too.
Hey, man.
Everybody said they're dress code night.
79 degrees, yes.
Short weather.
Kind of already talked to Casey, actually even talked to Scott a little bit once, about a project I'm working on of taking our fire department downsizing vehicles. We've already got rid of one. We gave it to Codes. He needed a new car, so we just donated one of our Explorers to him and recycled it that way so they didn't have to buy him a car, so we just gave him one of ours. The other deal is our brush truck, with our mutual aid agreements, and plus with even like my events in town, golf course, 4th of July, parks, the lake. We want to go down to one brush truck. We're going to sell the Hummer, take all the equipment off the Hummer, and put it on a newer truck. A 4-door, that way I can send 4 guys, and that's it. If that's all we need, we send 4, no more, especially on mutual aids. We'll send 4, and that's all it goes. 2 guys will run backpack blowers, the other 2 guys will run the truck. That way we cut down on how many people we send somewhere. Biggest thing is just our other truck's not a 4-door, and most of us are pretty big guys, and we don't fit in that extended cab very well. So really with that project there, I'm not even buying a new truck. I'm gonna buy used. There's no reason to buy brand new when we don't put that many miles on a vehicle in the next 15 years, 20 years. I am gonna keep the old brush truck that we have, take the skid unit off of that, and that's gonna be basically a Chief's vehicle, because it don't have a lot of miles on it, and my Chief's vehicle has a ton of miles on it. And plus we're gonna use my car for a backup med unit, because we've had days that we've had, I think it was here recently, we had 9 medicals one day, and there were 4 or 5 at a time going in once, and we were running out of things to send. And we don't like taking engines too much on too many medicals, because for some reason people in this town freak out when you pull up in front of the house with a fire truck and not something smaller. That, and I wish I had good news about my radios I ordered last December, but I still haven't seen them yet. And I am going to buy 5 more if I can, if possible. That'll be it for radios, hopefully for the next 10 years.
Highly doubt it.
I doubt it either, but, and the price, I'm running the same thing Mike is. We come here and talk to you guys about this stuff, but the price goes up so much by the time we get around to ordering it. Like my radios, I got lucky, I prepaid mine, so they didn't jump on us. If I'd have waited, they would have jumped, I think, almost $400 a radio. If I would have waited until they came in to pay for them, but I didn't, I went ahead and paid in advance. The only reason I did that is because I bought them through the county. So, I know they're not gonna stiff us on it, so. And they're gonna program the radios for free since I ordered them through them. Really, besides I got 4 new people I gotta buy bunker gear for, but I can't wait till next year to do that. I'm gonna pull some stuff out of my line items this year that I'm not gonna spend and buy bunker gear for my new people, so. Really, that's all I have, I think. About it.
How much are you thinking for the new truck?
To do the whole project under, I think I figured it, right now, 74,000. But you're gonna get the money back from the Hummer, because I'm gonna sell it online. Last 2 I've seen sold, they sold for anywhere from 25 to 30,000. So roughly right around there. I can't guarantee you that's what it's gonna sell for, but that's what they're selling for online right now. And we're gonna use all the equipment off the Hummer, the lights, skid unit. That saves $36,000 by us just taking all that and moving it over to the new truck. And we'll do all that in-house. So, and I don't need new gym equipment when I got here yesterday. We got all new gym equipment we bought, so.
You do the transfer yourself.
Huh?
You do the transfer yourself.
Well, a friend of mine does. He's a welder fabricator. He'll come and transfer everything over to the skid unit and all that stuff for me. So. But other than that, that's all I have.
Rob, you up?
So my list, not all of this is 2025, but all of this is capital, except for the very bottom items I'll specify. So a lot of this stuff you guys have heard before, we've talked about it. I've got it on here, Jim, just so we can kind of keep it fresh in our minds. The projects is still out there and that we're still needing to get completed. The rural water line is still out there. I'd like to get started on that at some point. Water line extension, North 400 to North 1600. You know, this is part of are we gonna try and replace that whole water line between Lawrence and Baldwin? You know, if we do, it's a great time to bring that on up to the West Tower. We talked about brick streets, 9th Street, the downtown brick rehab, which we're working on right now. The 11th Street is a possible truck route. It's on here. Shift seal phases 5 through 7. You know, we have a seal program this year. We're starting on phase 5. So one more year, we'll be ready to start over again. And I get it. No, not everybody likes it, but it's it's something. We're doing something right now that we can do to try and save on what we have. And anyway, it's on here. Spring Creek Lake, I don't know, guys. It's not getting any better. What to do with it, I'm not sure, but it's on the list as a potential CIP project. So equipment-wise, the Jersey barriers that Mike talked about, 30 of those, 40 by 72s, about 15 grand for 30 of those. I wouldn't mind getting some of those this year if we can. We've got so many events downtown. Sometimes we only need a block. Sometimes we need all of downtown blocked off. You know, if we could just get a few of them this year, it would be great. I don't know if any of the organizations Mike mentioned would be willing to help us buy some. 15,000 is not a lot of money for 30 of these. But maybe we can talk to Ben and figure out how to get some of these coming this year. Our Freightliner dump truck is a 2004. I had that slated for 2026. It's about 180,000. A backhoe in 2025, it's 150,000. I think I had that in last year. We did not get that purchased. We're still working out some issues with the one that we have before we can either sell it or trade it. Mini X in 2027, about 75,000. And we'd like to get also in 2025 a skid loader with a mill. That's something that the electric department, public works would like to go in together on because we both use it. We'd like to keep the one that we have, but it's getting to the point where it's needing to be replaced. And that's probably going to be 75 to 100,000 depending on how many accessories that we get with it. That's my list. It's really short and condensed. Like I said, I know you guys have heard a lot of this stuff before, but if you have any questions on it, I'll be glad to answer them.
The skid loader,
Yes.
between electric and which fund is it? Public Works.
I do have current quotes on that. And so it's gonna depend on what the numbers look like.
It's 25.
If possible.
Those barriers, you requested 30 of them. How many of them does it take to block the whole downtown section?
28.
How many? 8?
28.
20. Oh, so we only get just one blockage.
Yeah.
Okay.
If we were gonna do, you know, what is it?
Per street.
4 per block, 5.
That's what.
Five.
Five
Per street.
per street.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, it takes 2 on the outside, we put 1 in the middle.
Okay.
And if we had to, we could drag it off really quick
Right.
and get in.
Okay.
Since we're looking at rehabbing the brick streets, would it not make sense to install something where balusters
Ballast,
can
I was just
just
gonna
be
bring that up.
slipped in? You know, like,
Have like a fake brick thing.
well, have a sleeve already built in
That'll
where
free the time to
you're just
do it,
putting
right?
balusters.
Like the bollards, the removable bollards.
Yeah.
We originally talked about that when this first became a topic with the Maple Leaf Committee. That was their preference. And you can customize them per block. But in talking with, because they have to be, and correct me if I'm wrong, you could make like a concrete strip where these would be set, but that degrades over time and you have to redo them over time. And then if they get hit, they break and things like that. So there's a cost upkeep for that and you could customize them per block, but you would have to have one every block to do that. Because sometimes we only close 7th Street, sometimes we close 6th Street, just to make the venue larger and things like that. With the barriers, they're more maneuverable, they're easier to get to, they're more customizable for that, and I think it's actually cheaper in the long run. But I can tell you the bollards look more professional, they really do, but it comes at a much bigger cost. Because I would only venture a guess that the 15 grand it would take to do all 30 of those portable barriers that we could move and use wherever we wanted to would maybe only pay for 1 or 2 intersections of a concrete bollard area. That's a guess on my part, but talking with a couple people about it when we first talked about doing that, it's extremely expensive.
Maybe we do both. Maybe we do a hybrid.
Maybe your main sections that you always block off, maybe invest in those and then maybe have the portable ones for
You know,
whatever.
we may be some at the golf course, the depot, that we want to take them down for. You know, they're portable, we can take them anywhere, which makes this a really good option for us.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick question, Ben, when they give you these numbers, are they gonna prioritize it for 25 and priority kind of a rank and then 26, 27? And there's a lot of things on there.
Yeah.
And definitely be interested in their view of, hey, gotta have this,
Yep.
and then need this, this, and this. So what comes back to on the preliminary budget would rationalize at least that stack rank.
Yeah, that has to do with the capital, right?
Yeah.
The capital will be able to prioritize, because if we ran into a situation where
Yeah.
there's a grant that comes up, we can make that line a little lower and get down into the more capital, then, yeah, that'd be the best way to handle it.
Yeah, and then it comes down to save it, build the SIP fund or
Yep.
combination of bond and SIP, depending on how urgent it is,
Absolutely,
right?
that's a good point.
I thought that was gonna happen this fall, regardless. That's why I didn't, I thought that was already in the works. I didn't mention it.
Yeah, Julie, we're working on that. We're with the community center on the pool. If we might have to go out for a short-term lease to cover the funding for the tax credits we're gonna receive back. And there was talk early about using a portion of that to rehab the pool. So, but we don't know that yet, so that's why it hasn't been brought to the council. Steve, you wanna start and then we'll just go right down the line? I guess, I don't, unless Ben has some sort of list.
Last September, you guys approved the back trailer and turned out we didn't have enough to get it in our, we had a budget line, but there wasn't money there. Glenn's working on a lease purchase, trying to get it this year. We'd like to see that bought this year if we can, but like I said, that would be a lease purchase. I don't know how you guys do the payments or the money comes out for that. As far as our machine and equipment repair, down at the sewer plant right now, our basin number 2 is basically, it's rusted, falling apart. Our last inspection, it was doing okay, we thought, and then things started falling off. We're rebuilding it right now. I'd like to see another 25,000 put on machine and equipment repairs, so we have 75,000 on there, so we can buy parts and replace some stuff down there. We're still good, we're still running our plant like we're supposed to. It's just some stuff fell off, had to shut the basin down, and we're doing some customizing and trying to get it fixed up. And the other machine and equipment repair for the collections out there is High Street, the pumps went out on it. This is all due to rags and stuff like that. They were $4,600 back in 2016, now they're $8,500 per pump. So if I gotta get 3 pumps for lift stations this year, my $25,000 budget is gone. But I do have to get 2 right away. Hopefully I don't have to get too many more this year. I have no control over the pumps going out. I mean, we have no control over wipes and stuff going in our system, and those are very hard on pumps. But wanted a little bit more in there so we can afford to buy the pumps and upgrade stuff that we need to like that. Like to get another truck for pulling back trailer, sewer jet and all that down here in the next couple of years at the sewer plant. We got 2 3/4 ton trucks. One of them's got a winch on the back, so it's not really a trailer puller. We have to pull the winch off to use it. The other one's a 2012, and it'd be nice to keep it as a service truck and another truck to pull the machines around as we need to. We did hire another person about 2 months ago. He's working out really good. He's gonna be primarily in the collections, doing inspecting and cleaning out lines and stuff like that, and kind of an extra truck to keep him busy down there, so we're not just trading trucks back and forth all the time. And that's about it. Like I said, I'm not asking for a huge amount, just more in machine and equipment repair, and then I guess the back trailer and truck is whatever we can do, lease purchase, get over the next several years.
Yeah, like I said, I'm pretty good with what we got on the line items. The one thing I would like to see is a new pickup. There's one pickup that we've got that's 4-door, because I still have 4 guys in the apprenticeship. They have to go to classes once a month. And that's also running down to KMU. I was asked to be on emergency management deal there with KMU. So that'll be once every 3 months going back to McPherson. the truck that we've got now has got 190,000 miles on it. And it really been hard on deer for the previous driver.
I've heard.
Yeah. But, yeah, it's just, this, in the past year, we've had to put a new transmission in it and put a new radiator in it. The other radiator finally just went kaput.
Would a side-by-side help you? We
Yeah,
have
good, yeah.
one downtown that
If
doesn't
we
get
get a
used
side by
often.
side too, that'd be handy here in town.
Winch.
Yeah, and Ben, she's getting docked 15 grand for not opening the door, you know, we can just take the side.
15%, it's a lot more.
Oh, 50%. And then I'll go with side by side and the pickup. But outside of that, like I said, Rob and I have been discussing about the skid loader. And if we can get one with grapple hooks and stuff, like with the storm damage that come through, that skid loader running around loading this brush up and stuff would be a huge help. Even with us, when we're clearing lines, it would be a big help in places. Just like today, we're over here off of Second and King, back in the eastern way, that it's real narrow. I mean, we can get a truck in there, but it is a pain. We would be able to bucket out with that grapple bucket and stuff off the skid steer a lot easier. But outside of that, that's really all I've got.
So I got a handout too.
Dang it.
I'll try to talk as I go here. As far as the 25 budget, the line items, everything is pretty close on that. The one thing that we need to adjust on the revenue side, we need to add 60,000 to the utility fees revenue because there was a metering issue with the power plant 2. So power plant 2 was not being billed the correct amount for its power. The good part of that is it will offset the extra expense will be offset by the extra revenue. So those two line item deals have need to change. I've already talked to Ben about that. As far as the expenses, the number one for me, like Mike, is employee wages. I'm glad we did the wage study. It did reflect that some of the power plant positions were maybe underpaid a little. And I do know that the two closest cities power plants to us are about $10 an hour higher than we are. So I'd like to get that closened up to what they are sooner rather than later. Then a couple of small items, trash service has increased, so we're almost to reaching our 24 budget already on the trash, so we need to upgrade that a little. Staff training will be a little less as long as we keep our staff. They've completed a lot of the training so far. Logan will be the last one going through the power plant operators course. He will be done next month. So both guys are done with that. They both been to overall school, so the training expenses will be a little less. The 1126 budget was included in me, but I don't oversee that, so I'm not sure who does. And then proposed 1127 electric acquisition numbers looked adequate to me. We talked about that a little bit today. So. As far as the capital improvement plan, within the capital improvement plan, there was a 2029 marker of $7 million for a substation. That can be removed because of the substation project we're doing now. Should put us far into the future before we need to look at another substation or upgrading the one we have. They had 2027 and 2028, $4 million each for a generator for each year. I'd recommend taking the 27 out because the two cat generators we're installing now have taken the place of that. I left the 2028 generator in, but that should be on a fluid rotation because it will depend on how our downtown plant's doing at that time, and also what the new rules are for capacity, because they're changing how we can rate our capacity of our units. So in 2025, I have replacing the 2008 F-350, which was a hand-me-down from my line crew in 21. We put a little money into it, been using it, but I'd like to see see if we can get that replaced, considering an electric option, possibly electric F-150. 2026, once we get the new substation running, I put in $250,000 maintenance for the Newton substation. So basically, that Newton substation has been online since 1998 or 9, I believe. 99 or 98. 98 or 99. So anyway, the transformer itself needs to be torn apart, put new gaskets in, have the oil reconditioned or possibly replaced, tap changer contacts changed, isolators, insulators, rebuilt and such. And then, so anyway, repainted. It's getting rusted out, but the intent is to do all that once we have the new substation online, so we can completely take that offline and do that work dead. So I put that $250,000 in for 2026 on that. And the last thing I have questions about, but I wanted to put it on there, and that was the purchase of the solar array from Evergy. That is our 8-year term. We have the ability to buy it in 2026. The pre-agreed price was $842,000 at that date. We continue to have some problems with it. So once we get closer to that, I probably will be trying to run analysis on whether or not that's worthwhile. And then also probably might want to be in contact with Evergy to see if that price is still the same. My thinking is they would probably want to possibly unload that at a cheaper price if we're not willing to pay the price the predetermined. They're still working on it. They're doing great. Every time there's a problem, they're here fixing it. But literally in the last month, they've been here 3 times with problems. So they don't seem to be getting better. They seem to be getting worse. So, but I still want to put that in as the marker, and really that's all I have.
You said it's 26.
I'm sorry.
26.
26.
That Newton substation, do you do that yourself?
The work to it? No, it'd be a contractor hired in to do that.
The 250 covered.
I think it will. I mean, it's going to be a tearing it down, seeing what's wrong type thing. So it's a number.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
Anybody else?
Glenn, anything else?
Anything for me?
You're not getting one.
I know, if I could, I have a new subject. The finance committee had talked about hearing from the department directors about what we haven't been able to put in the budget. And I know I've been helping you guys organize this budget for quite a few years now. And in the past, we've just taken the prior year and just rolled it forward and assumed that was good enough and moved on. Finance committee had a conversation. I thought it was a really healthy conversation about identifying what is out there, what the department directors are really looking at. A lot of this is the new conversations I haven't had yet, obviously, but as I go down through this list, there's not a lot of lightning bolts here. I know we try to put a vehicle in for the chief every year. I know fire runs some really big rigs that we probably ought to be planning for if we'd have it already. But a lot of this stuff, the council just needs to know what's there, right? Each one of these departments have routine maintenance, and in the past, we pulled that routine maintenance back for various reasons, whether sales tax were off or our forecast was off, whatever it was. We still have a lot of cushion, if you will, available in the future. We've kind of gotten down to bare bones now. And I say that, and it's really true. When you talk about the vehicles these guys are running, I'm just really glad that the finance committee decided to actually hear what they've got. This year, what I want to do is I'm going to load everything in there, see really what that looks like. We'll load everything that they've got in there, both operating and CIP. CIP we'd like to put together from 25 to 29. That'll take a little bit of work. I know, just thinking out that far, I can't get my wife or myself to think out that far what's going to be at 29. But when you look at the utility funds, we probably ought to be looking at that. I know Jeff's done that already. But I'd like to have that out there too, so we can keep that rolling. the benefit of loading it all and see what the gap is we can really do some work then in finance committee to really look at what we've got. And go through the priorities and really start making some headways as to what we want to try to fund. Not just the finance committee, but they'd be able to bring that back then to this body as a workshop. And you all can hear and see and have a voice in what's going on. I think that's probably a better process than we have used in the past to actually see everything that's out there. They're doing great work with what they've got. I appreciate your time and willingness to hear what they've got too.
I have actually one more thing. I didn't get to talk to Ben today about it, or last week. I forgot about it. And then, anyway, I've been looking into hiring what we would consider part-time. I have 3 full-time firefighters that are off separate times. And a lot of departments are getting to this point of hiring them. You keep them under 999 hours. And you don't have to pay them benefits, nothing. They just get a straight hourly rate while they're there from like 8 to 5 or 8 to 4 or whatever. Because we are getting busy. I mean, not every day we're busy, but we have our moments. We're still running more calls than Eudora City, and they have a full-time chief, full-time assistant chief, and they're trying to go full-time at like 1.5 million a year or whatever it was. But it's something I wanted to talk to Ben because I used to have in a line item for years for part-time, and I just didn't get to talk to him before tonight about it. It's been in my budget line items for years. But I wanted to bring it up with him, but I'll go ahead and bring it up tonight because it's something would help me and the city if I had definite guys here, like from 8 to 4, 8 to 3, something like that. So, and it would that would help us not have to think about full-time department. I mean, it really would, because any guy that's fire 1, fire 2, and EMT, I can have them work for like $17.80 an hour, just with no benefits, and keep it down under that many hours. But I just didn't get to talk to Ben about it first, but I know I had it in my line item for years for it. So,
Place to bring it up.
so hopefully by next time we have this meeting, you'll have more for me then.
Well, now that you mention it, as far as things that would be coming forward, not huge items, but we've been talking about, I guess, for a number of years, on and off, about replacing a lot of our IT equipment from our server down to our networks and PCs and whatever. And one of the main server at City Hall is from 2011. That's got to be replaced here because it's at the end of its useful life. And some of the networking also. We actually have budgeted that in this year and going forward to next year. So it's not actually a real increase in the current budget since those items were in there already. Had a different IT setup at that point with an outside person doing our IT. We have somebody inside now, so that's already in place. As far as anything else goes, I don't know if there's anything else that's really we need immediately that would be coming forward.
So you're saying that plan is to keep IT budget flat from 24?
Pretty much. I don't think it really needs a big increase at all, even with the things that we're contemplating.
Right,
because I didn't really do. Yeah.
And then you were gonna roll in, obviously everybody's seen the employee compensation survey. You're gonna
Right,
roll in
yeah.
A recommendation for the next session of.
Correct. And that'll be
to
the
load that into.
Right. So again, we had 2 options on there. The survey came back and recommended 60 or 70 percentiles, they called it, either going to the 60th medium or the 70th on that. So those are the 2 options going forward. Either, and there's not a wide gap between the 2, which I thought was really curious, but there isn't for some reason. So those are the 2 big things I can think of coming forward here in the next fiscal year.
Any other questions from council? Staff, anything more? All right, well, I guess the work session's adjourned.